I did a skateboard game called Skate or Die many years ago, and we found with the footsteps.
That was you?
We did all the. It never got released, so whatever you. It wasn't the C64 version. This was a PlayStation 2 and Xbox game. We found with the photos, it's very because we had the footsteps, the guy running around, and it sounded wrong and empty, and we spent weeks and weeks and weeks on the sound. So we realized what was missing was all the sound of all the clothes rustling, because you're wearing like nylon clothes and jeans. It's all that rustling of the clothes, the footsteps. And I was walking home one night, at like 2 in the morning, working silly hours, and walking home going, I can't hear my footsteps. I've got rubber shoes. They make no noise at all, but I could hear my jeans rubbing and my jacket, and then the next day I'm like, we need the clothes sound effect, and put those in, and suddenly the footsteps didn't sound like they were so isolated.
Yeah.
And, that was our secret.
I would never have thought of that.
Yeah, one thing you kind of figure out too when you start working on sound is that sometimes the way the world actually sounds, it doesn't make sense if you put it in games or movies, and it doesn't sound real if it were to sound that way in a game or in a movie, then you'd be like, that's weird. That's not the way it sounds when it actually is. So sometimes you have to. There's the famous example of the coconuts standing in for the sound of horses, which is that's not what horses sound like. But I mean that originated on radio. But that's kind of it's just a way to translate the real world into games or movies or whatever.
I don't know if the Ambient used the same trick that Warcraft used. So in Duskwood, when we were doing Colin McRae, the audio designer I was working with was get really into Warcraft, and we're talking about the Duskwood ambience, and we were like, why is it so spooky? It turns out it uses a 30 hertz tone, and 30 hertz is just about the same frequency that a lion roars at, and we're kind of genetically predisposed to not really like that frequency. So if you play that, just that sort of, you can't even hear it, just sort of down there, and your neck sort of goes, I don't like that, and you don't even realize why it is.
This reminds me very specifically of, I don't know if you guys saw the first Resident Evil movie. But
yes, I have seen
the
it.
soundtrack for that was done by Marilyn Manson and a couple of guys who are honest to God brilliant composers. Now they came in with the typical. No offense, I like Marilyn Manson. Don't get me wrong. But
it's a big difference when the sound designer gives me an export of a lot of WAV files. He gives me them, and it's like great. I can put them in, throw them in the game. But the sound files have an area of silence at the end, or the roll-off isn't quick enough at the end. And even though it's only a few milliseconds, it makes a big difference to them being played in the game. So if you're walking, the walking in my game is connected to the head bob, so the footsteps depend on which way you're bobbing. And then when the footsteps hit the ground, they have to finish playing before the next one will play. So sometimes it goes off if you don't have the footsteps short enough, if you know what I mean. And again, it's an implementation thing when it comes to the developers, but it's nice that game programmers and game sound designers need to work together. There's no real alternative. You can't just go off and create me some sounds. There has to be some workflow involved in that.
Thanks for watching the Quick Bite. If you like what you've seen, please click like, share, subscribe. If you want to watch the full episode, click the bobbly heads you see at the top. And of course, leave your comments below. We like hearing from you. Speak with you soon. Toodle pip.